There's Josie in the distance there playing with her stick, coming to you on a walk. Make a bit of a change of scene. Still very grateful to have access to this open space and the woods over here. Trying my best to keep this screen nice and still, but of course you can always just listen to this on audios. We're all still in this quarantine deal, and it's not always easy, of course, and a lot of the discussion threads that I'm seeing online and so on revolve around whether we should be hard on ourselves for not being productive. And I've shared a couple of videos with you on this channel in the recent past where I said that we should all be taking advantage of this moment where the world is in lockdown and people are slowing down and economies are dropping and most people are being unproductive and distracted in this time. And I spoke about how important it was to take as much advantage as you can in gaining market share in terms of people becoming aware of you, people being attracted to your content and building up more of a following and doing more to build your businesses and to grow and expand as best you can. Now, with that suggestion comes a lot of pressure, doesn't it? It's like, I have to do this, I should do more. And of course, finding ourselves in quarantine and with all the distractions around us, it can be even more pressure piled on all of us to be more productive and to do more. Josie's waiting for over there with her stick. She's obviously being very productive. So I wanted to talk about productivity and how to think of it in such a way that we don't apply huge amounts of pressure on each of us. And when we apply pressure, you know what happens, of course, is that we end up being less productive. We end up slowing ourselves down because we apply this need, this pressure to do more and be more. And of course that can create more anxiety, and that does not present itself very conducively to being productive. It's not helpful to continually be applying this pressure on ourselves to do more. So I wanted to use this opportunity to talk about productivity in a different way. In many respects, many of us have nothing to lose at the moment because our productivity is so out of the window and so non-existent that it may be helpful, and I know it will be helpful, to have a conversation about thinking about productivity in a very different way. And that is to veer around the idea that we need to have total structure and total, a really clear format around how we need to do things in order to be more productive, and having, buckets and getting things done and having systems in place to make us more productive. And what that hinges on is the idea that we aren't very good at being productive. We aren't very good at being disciplined. If we have systems in place to make us more productive, whether that be, time blocking or routines or just having lists and alarms that go off at certain times of the day to be more productive, that kind of suggests that we are not very good at motivating ourselves. And that's one way of doing it. I have had plenty of success in the past in using various systems to make me more productive, but there are potentially other ways of looking at things that could be even more fruitful for you in not feeling that external pressure to do stuff. So what I'm putting forward to you is the idea of taking two it's not a mindset, but it's a way of looking at productivity in a way that is helpful and a little bit more gentle with yourself, so that it doesn't apply so much pressure. Rather, it turns it around and turns everything that you could be doing with your day into something that has potential to be enjoyable and engaging. So it's those two things. Think about productivity and getting stuff done in the sense that you are, A, being more engaged with what you have in front of you. So engagement, what does that mean? Engagement is simply being present with whatever's in front of you. Engagement is doing one thing at a time, engagement is not about multitasking and trying to spin various plates and trying to drift and jump between activities, because that's heavy on the mind. That's high pressure. What I have found is that when I can commit to, gosh, there's a serious fire going on over there. When I can commit to, this is a perfect example of being distracted. I hope it's not my house going up in flames. I'll report on that a bit later. But when you can bring total presence to whatever it is that's in front of you, like me doing this video, then you open up your mind to an inner wisdom, an inner knowingness, and creative insights will come up that will give you what you need in that moment so that you can do the very best job you can with whatever's in front of you. You're not spinning your mind in many different ways trying to get things to work. You're just present with it. So engagement is one way of approaching work so that you can be more productive. You will inevitably be more productive by being more engaging and being more engaged in what you do. You don't need to think about, okay, how do I do this better? How can I be better at this? How can I do it? What kind of behaviors do I need to take on to get through this more effectively and more efficiently? Rather than thinking about behavior, just think about being present and doing one thing at a time. That's one way of approaching productivity that I can guarantee to you, like it has with me, will improve your productivity. You don't need to overthink things. Just be more engaged, be more present. The second aspect of all of it is to enjoy what you're doing, no matter what it is. A lot of us hold back on things and we procrastinate and we allow ourselves to be distracted because the thing in front of us seems like it can't possibly be enjoyed. It looks boring, it looks tedious, it looks dull, and so we find ways to avoid it. Rather than thinking, immediately reacting to whatever the activity is in terms of it being dull or difficult, see it as an opportunity to find enjoyment in it. You can find enjoyment in whatever it is you set your mind to do, whether it be something that you naturally are drawn to, or whether it's something that is seen as more of a chore, more of a kind of everyday activity. You have the potential within you to be engaged with something, so that's bringing the engagement part in, but also to simply allow yourself to enjoy it, have fun with it, see it as the game, see it for the game that it is. This means when it comes to hoovering your room, see that as an opportunity to enjoy yourself. Find a way to enjoy it. And when you start seeing everything around you as a source of potential enjoyment and a source of enjoyment in itself, then you're not going to second guess it. You're not going to find ways to doubt yourself. You're not going to find reasons and evidence to support your opinion of the thing being dull and a waste of time. You will find ways to enjoy it. You are an amazingly unlimited and resourceful being who can find enjoyment in anything. So by bringing engagement, so full focus, you can see it as focus, but really it's not about trying to do anything. It's simply about being present with what you have in front of you and one thing at a time, and doing it in a way that is enjoyable. And you'll find that both kind of interrelate, both overlap. Those are the only two things I have in mind when I think about needing to be more productive. I think to myself, okay, what can I do next? And how can I find a way of enjoying it? And then when I do the thing, I'm present with it, as present as I can be. And obviously, I drift off, I get frustrated, I'm human. But I mean, it's a lot more effective in the long run to be able to make the distinction between work that you feel you have to do, that is kind of in your to-do list, that just feels like a chore and you're going to try and rush through them as quickly as possible to get them out of the way and get them done, versus work that you are open to being present with, putting all your energy into it and having fun with the process. It's a massive difference in your approach to work. So think about it's more about the how, right? We think that we need to get more done in life, more done in the day, and that's thinking about the what, and we try and rush through everything. Rather than thinking about stuff as something to rush through and get as much done as you can, approach things in the sense of how can I, how can I approach this in a way that is going to lead to more presence and more enjoyment. And you'll find that approach will lead to almost effortless productivity, because there's no thinking that gets in the way anymore. There's no crutch that gets in the way. There's no sense of you putting pressure on yourself anymore. You're just doing one thing at a time. When you're present with something, all the pressure tends to float out because there's no unnecessary, unhelpful thinking associated with it. You're there with the thing, you're there with the writing, whatever it is, you're there with the video like I am here, and you're just seeing what comes up, and then you're just acting on that wisdom. You're speaking that insight. See what that does for you. I know that this has been a bit rambly, I suppose. I'm not particularly clear-headed today, but I'm doing my best to bring as much valuable insight and content to you guys as possible. I have found this productivity approach to be pretty useful over the last few weeks. It's difficult to tell because I'm in quarantine, and sometimes it's a different environment for me being at home. I'm around family, and so there are more distractions, but I'm seeing the effects. I'm able to put out a video every day. I'm writing a lot more than usual, and I'm bringing this approach to everything I do now. This be engaged, enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm finding a lot of benefits, a lot of pros coming out of this. So I hope this helped. Do subscribe if this made sense to you and you want to hear more like this. Let me know in the comments whether this made sense to you or whether you want me to clarify. I'd love to have a conversation with you down there. Do like this video if you liked it, and I will see you in the next video.